Hoi, it's louisity again, and for this video, I'm going to talk about the top 15 books that I read according to Goodreads. Hoorah! So, I'm going to, film this video because I've been seeing this for a while with some other content creators, and I felt like, what a great way, why don't I do this myself, So, these books that I'm going to be talking about would be, basically, these are books that I've read my entire life. So this is according to Goodreads, y'all, based on the rankings and based on their metrics. What I did is that I went to my read shelf in Goodreads and I arranged it from the highest to the lowest. So I counted 15 books. The only one that I excluded was a Bible. Okay, so yeah, but these are books that I read in my entire life, and according to Goodreads, these are the top 15 books. So let us begin talking about them. So the figures that you folks will be hearing in this video would be based on when I was planning this video as of the 1st of February 2024 Philippine time. So these numbers might have changed a little bit by the time that you're going to be seeing this one. So at number 15, I have some cheat codes, so I'll be looking down every now and then. So at number 15, we have Mark of Athena. Goodreads rating is 4.47. Number of ratings, 587,269. And my rating is 4 out of 5. So here's Mark of Athena. I do own a copy of it, or I own a copy and I can reach it because if it's on the top shelf, I don't want to grab them because it might collapse the books and all that stuff. But anyway, so yes, I agree that this is pretty decent, and when I read this, I felt like it was dragging in some areas, but it wasn't too bad. It was still action packed, but yeah, so not bad. It deserves a spot. Rick Riordan books deserve, technically these books deserve to be here, I believe. And yeah, well, everybody will be having their moment. I'm pretty sure they will be one day, But yeah, for this book, going back, it was okay. It was good. It was a good reading experience. There were intense scenes and there were dragging scenes. So that's all I got to say. At number 14, we have Ignite Me by Tahereh Mafi. Now, Goodreads rating is 4.47. The number of ratings is 445,783. Now, this made me confused as to how they determine which one is higher or not. When I was planning this video, I got confused on that part. And my rating for this one is 4.25 out of 5. Now, if you remember, back in the day, if you were already watching my videos around 2018, 2019, that era, y'all know that this was the book that gave me hope. I filmed a book review of the first 3 books of the Shatter Me series, and this book gave me hope that, when I move forward to the other books in the series, the second trilogy, which honestly for me, based on my reading experience, it does deserve to have a continuation, because I felt there was some cliffhangers in this one. And this is where I start to feel the political intrigue, and all, basically the intensity of governance and stuff, which what I was looking for, because it's a fantasy dystopian kind of novel, or that is how it, this was pitched, because this was published in an era where dystopian novels are becoming a thing. And because for me, when I read the first 2 books, the second book, Unravel Me, was decent, but Shatter Me, I'm it's so dystopian for me. And that's the sad thing about the latter parts, just to if you folks are going to be reading the latter books in the series. I'm talking about Define Me and Imagine Me. They were just not really that cool. But this one gave me hope, and then when I read Restore Me, I was I was blown away. So yeah, this was the book that gave me hope, in the Shatter Me series. And honestly, it deserves to be in the top 15. But like I said earlier, every book out there, this deserves to be in top 15. It's just a matter of like time and people's preferences of like which platform, etc., yada yada, and all that. I know it's another discussion, but yeah, pretty much like this book deserves. Like, I can see why it is highly rated. At number 13, we have Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. Now, its Goodreads rating is 4.47. It has a total of 9,889,965 ratings. Now, I think this is like the highest or most rated book, among the books that I read, as well as like among all the books in Goodreads. I believe this one close to 10 million. And my rating for this one would be 4 out of 5. Now, I think that this is an enjoyable book. I had fun with it. I might have read it a little bit too early for myself. I remember reading this when I was like 9 years old because, it was kind of like a thing, in grade school, and how it's like, Harry Potter is so popular, so like, why don't I give it a try? Let's dive into this like media this book that's being like more mainstream and more popular or more talked about. So my brother apparently owns like a copy of it, and then I decided, can I read it? And I read it, and I'm not sure if at the time I was really immersed in the narrative. I think I started being a little bit more immersed in the narrative when I started reading Order of the Phoenix. As when I really did. So, but yeah, I think it was still overall good, at least based on what I recall from my childhood. So when I started like randomly rating books that I read, way before, I, just thought like, I think this was pretty, a decent one. So, yeah. At number 12, we have The Hate to Give by Angie Thomas. Now, Goodreads rating is 4.48. The number of ratings it has in Goodreads is 880,840, and my rating for this one would be 4.25. I really enjoyed like the innuendos, like those happy moments that I had, like where Star was, with her family watching basketball, or I think there was a scene where they were like rapping some sorts, which is really heartwarming to read. And I like the fact I always have this in mind. Whenever I think about this book, what comes into my mind would be opportunities, and how, let's say, ex-convicts, do they get the same opportunities as those people who, were never convicted of a crime or even like absolved or had any record or whatsoever. How, Star's dad was talking about how they would get something, a job that wouldn't pay them enough, and then they end up, because of, life, financial circumstances, they would end up like going back to the quote-unquote old ways, and, decide to do stuff that are illegal and maybe even immoral, and how, you can't really blame them, because it's like, there has to be more opportunities for them, to be able to bounce back. And yeah, so it's like kind of like the cycle repeats again and again. Like, it's like, hopefully, each one of us gets to be able to earn things and be able to make the most out of our lives, if I'm making sense. Like, give us opportunities to be able to pursue whatever passions we have, and not just be limited to, and maybe not even just limited, but maybe even to the bare minimum. We might not be able to access those things that even at the bare minimum we should have. So that's kind of like the case. Like, money is not enough for us to even like feed ourselves. So some people resort to other ways, which, it's not something that we approved of, but we cannot like villainize entirely. And basically, it's better that we make changes, with, some governance and some systems that are going around. So that is something that to me is like it's across all cultures and nations, that ex-convict with opportunities thing. And that really hit me hard because I remember like that being talked about in like our whatever like sociology class back in college. So yeah, so that part really struck me. And I think the reason why I rated this a little bit lower is because maybe I was seeing this a bit like a mystery novel in some sorts, like because we all know Star's cousin was shot, and I think at the time when I was reading this compared this to like a novel that I read where there was this sort of like killer, like it's called Smaller and Smaller Circles, where there was this killer of like children in payatas, and we get to understand in some of the scenes what goes through in this person's mind. So I was looking for that a little bit for some sort maybe. But yeah, overall I still like this, and I do hope to read more works by Angie Thomas, especially that like middle grade preteen book that she just recently wrote. I really want to read that one. Hopefully I can, in some way I'm thinking about owning it, and we'll see. At number 11 we have Six of Crows by Leigh Bardugo. Now, Goodreads rating is 4.49. The number of ratings would be 920,138, and my rating is 1.5 out of 5. Now, if you've watched my reading vlog, yes, this for me gave me a disastrous reading experience, and yes, I get it in terms of like the high rating. It is hyped, it is beloved. I remember even conducting like a survey, and this was like one of the nominees. That's why I bought it. And it disappointed me big time. Like Six of Crows, like there was a lot of like I don't care about like their like narratives. Okay, I cared about the heists. What are they like gonna do? Like what? I don't care about their backstories. And it's like the sequencing of this one is like messy. Like suddenly we are already in a heist and whoa, backstory again. I'm like, it's boring. Like, if you liked it, then that's great for you. To me, no. Like, that's why sometimes I tell myself, when it's a popular book, chances are I'm not gonna love it. Or worse, it's like, it's gonna be a dreadful reading experience. So, yeah. Six of Crows, not all. It wasn't captivating. At number 10, we have Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix by J.K. Rowling. Now, Goodreads rating is 4.50. The number of ratings that it has is 3,333,997. Ooh, close to like 3,334,000. Ooh. And my rating for this one is 5 out of 5. I enjoyed it. It was a breeze. I remember, like I said, I did not study for like my final exams because of this, but I still passed and did really well in those exams that were like scheduled that day. And yes, I was just so like hooked into the narrative, especially like the latter parts. I was like, oh my gosh, this is it. Oh my gosh, what's gonna happen to Umbridge? Ha ha ha, Umbridge, like that. A lot of emotions like were unleashed. So yeah, it wasn't boring. At number 9, we have The Last Olympian by Rick Riordan, and its Goodreads rating is 4.54, and it has 975,652 ratings, and my rating upon rereading the series is 5 out of 5. Now, 5 out of 5 books. 5 like in the Harry Potter series and the Percy Jackson and the Olympian series. They're both like the 5th books, and I gave them both perfect 5 because for this one, like when I reread it, it made me contemplate a lot of things, and I read it, or rather I reread it in 2020 where a lot of like thinking was done, a lot of thinking were done. Of course, I had like the privilege, I acknowledge that I had the privilege at the time for me to like sit down and think about life, while on quarantine. And yeah, when I was rereading it, like I didn't know that it had a lot of wisdom that hits me harder when I'm older, you know? So, yeah, I just loved it. Like, I loved it. I wish it was higher, but like, it is what it is. At number 8, we have House of Hades by Rick Riordan. Goodreads rating is 4.56. Number of ratings 401,464, and my rating is 4.75 out of 5. Now, there were just few dull moments, at least based on what I read. There were just some like lacking of zing that like miss at 0.25. But overall, even if it is thick, it's kind of a brick. Honestly, it wasn't dragging. Like it wasn't like, oh my goodness, what is gonna happen? It's like every single scene, or like most of the scenes, were like intense, you know? Like it had something to do with the stakes, like with the overall narrative. And that's what I liked about it. There were a lot of like, whoop, some discoveries, whoop, Nico, whoop, 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 whoop. It was just like really fun. Like I remember reading this while I was in quarantine, and I was like, you know, I felt like I was in the world for like few hours. You know, when I was reading, whenever I'm reading it, I'm like in another world, which is a great like, you know, escapism. But yes, it is intense escapism, if that makes sense. I know, kind of like irony, but yes, I really love how like the scenes hit and the narrative wasn't, you know, disconnected. Like there's nothing like that disconnects me from the narrative. There's no barrier. I was like, oh my goodness, I just was like holding on to my seat and really figuring out, or like really eager to like wanting to know what our characters are going to go through, basically what's going to happen. You know, it's more like what is going to happen, like what's gonna be the end game. How are they going to face, you know, Kronos, you know, Gaia, like all these like gods, like, and goddesses. I'm like, I was just like, this was just the epitome of captivating. At number 7, we have Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire by J.K. Rowling. Now, Goodreads rating is 4.56. It has 3,631,385 ratings, and my rating is 2.25. Now, the Tri-Wizard Tournament is just boring for me. At number 6, we have Anne of Green Gables by L.M. Montgomery. Now, the edition that I added had this rating. It's 4.57 in Goodreads, and it has a total of 11,307 ratings. And my mom wants to finish the Anne of Green Gables series. Like, she wants to read all of them. At number 5, we have Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince by J.K. Rowling. Now, Goodreads rating is 4.58. It has 3,226,565 ratings, and my rating is 3.5 out of 5. Now, based on my reading experience, it's a lovey-dovey story. At number 4, we have Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban by J.K. Rowling. Goodreads rating 4.58, a number of ratings 4,101,727, and my rating is 4 out of 5. It is a decent book, but honestly, I enjoyed watching the movie, even if it's not faithful with the book. At number 3, we have Crooked Kingdom by Leigh Bardugo. Now, Goodreads rating is 4.60, and it has 620,551 ratings, and my rating is 2.75 out of 5 if you watch my reading vlog, and if you've also watched like my live discussion when I had Blu-ray Book Club. I was just about this. It started well, but it just went downhill when I like picked it back up, and like, you know, throughout the middle of the story it went back, you know, with the things that I disliked about Six of Crows. Like, it really started out good, but it went back again to the vibes, or like the way that the narrative was created, wherein it focused so much on like the characters' like circumstances. as opposed to like really what is going to go on and how is this going to be connected. There's a lot of flashbacks that were unnecessary for the narrative, for the overall like plot, for the overall stakes, and yeah, so that's like my issue. Like it went back on that direction, which basically are things that I disliked about Six of Crows. So yeah, that's why I gave it 2.75. At number 2, we have The Night And Gale by Kristen Hanna. Now, its Goodreads rating is 4.62, and it has 1,296,068 ratings, and my rating is 4.5 out of 5. Now, this is like a good example if you want to know what happened in the Holocaust in France, with Germany's occupation. Actually, it's been like a while since I read like a World War II kind of like historical fiction, and it's been a while, or like I haven't really read a lot of historical fictions. Maybe perhaps some of y'all may think that's what made me like interested, or like what gave me like a good reading experience or a great reading experience, but I just felt like I read this at the time when I was in quarantine in 2020. And it was for like a book club with like Filipino booktubers and other bookish content creators, and I read it because I wanted to join like the discussion. And when I was reading it, it made me contemplate about a lot of things, and the characterizations, the lessons, the wisdoms that you can get from like the book, it's just like amazing. And I'm looking forward to read more from Kristen Hanna, and honestly, like I said, this is like the first ever like World War II Holocaust like related novel that is set in France that I read. So it's a good start, and I hope to read more like World War II like historical novels that are like set in other like places as well. And at number 1, the best book that I read according to Goodreads is Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows by J.K. Rowling. Now, Goodreads rating is 4.62. It has a total of 3,657,034 ratings, and my rating is 4.25 out of 5. It's a decent ending. The stakes were higher, and yes, the Horcruxes, like, oh my goodness, like, who are the Horcruxes, or what are the Horcruxes? That's actually the thing that, is going to make you intrigued about Harry Potter, is like, what or who are the Horcruxes? So that was good. Good finale. Let me know down in the comment section below, what was the best book that you read according to Goodreads, and do you agree with it? And if you've made it this far, leave a girl face emoji. I hope you folks liked this video, and if you did, be sure to give it a thumbs up. Also, click that subscribe button and hit that little bell icon somewhere down there to keep yourselves posted about my videos. And I'll be putting down links and handles of my social media accounts, so feel free to check me out and follow me there and support me there as well. As always, thank you super much for watching. Always be thankful and unleash the reader in you. Bye, y'all.